Hey all, Cohen here. So I want to make a bit of an update video from where I last left off. I think I uploaded a video 3 weeks ago, maybe. Not, don't quote me on that. But anyways, I am currently, so it is right now. It's January 3rd, and I had my surgery on October 20th, I believe. My sixth surgery for phalloplasty. So that would be like just over 2 months post-op. So that's where I am right now. I had been going to wound care because in previous videos, if you go back and watch, I had had a hematoma on the right side of my scrotum, which then ended up scabbing, and that had to come off, and then new skin had to regrow, and that is pretty much all healed. I also had a fistula, and that has closed. It's like the size of a pinhole now. I do still have to put my finger over the hole just to make sure that urine doesn't come out, because hopefully it will continue to heal and just close on its own. So then from that standpoint, both of those, once the fistula is healed, fingers crossed, then both of those things would be crossed off the list. I heard that, sorry, I just burped. I heard it's fairly common for fistulas to heal on their own. It does take longer. I had a larger fistula, which didn't heal closed because of how large it had been in stage 1. So it is a bit daunting for me because I have had a fistula before, but it was way bigger, so I can understand why it didn't close. But even just waiting for this to close, now that it's so small, it'll probably take longer to close up. Generally, that's how things go. So I'm just waiting for that to close. Unfortunately, I had been having like mild pains on and off, and that was like ever since probably my bladder stone. I had noticed like I had the issues that I discussed when I had my bladder stone, and then after it was removed, I felt a lot of relief, but I had noticed that at times I still had like mild pain that going on. And so when I sat down and thought about it, because I was still getting pains that were reminiscent of that, I was worried that I had another bladder stone or maybe a kidney stone, or that something was wrong to do with my bladder or something like that. So again, I had gone in, I think I mentioned in the last video, I went for an ultrasound, and I also peed in a cup again, and the urine test came back that there was nothing wrong, no infection, no nothing. And then my ultrasound results came back, and there was nothing wrong with my bladder, nothing wrong with my kidneys. So those are both crossed off for like, obviously, like having nothing. So I'm not having any issues in that area. However, the pain goes from just behind my scrotum to my rectum, and it feels like a stabbing pain or like it's like ripping, but from the exterior, everything looks fine. Like there are no issues. The skin's not like tight and looks like it's ripping or by any means like that. It's just that's what the pain feels like. And so I had contacted Dr. Crane, and he suggested that I take a medication called gabapentin, I think it's called, Gabapentin, which is actually a seizure medication, but it works to help with nerve pain. So he suggested that I go on that and see if it stops it. And so after back and forth with my doctor's office, and it being that I had talked to him on like, I want to say I actually was talking to him on Christmas Eve. I sent him a text message and told him not to rush back to get back to me or whatever, but he ended up messaging me back in a few minutes anyhow, and suggested that it was just a matter of, because of the holidays, I had to wait to get into my doctor's and get that prescription filled. So fast forward, went to my doctor's, told them what I was going through. I had looked up online. I can't remember what it's called now, but either way, it's to do with nerve issues. And I said to both Dr. Crane and my GP that this is the closest thing that I could find that would really explain what I'm feeling. So I'm on the medication, and I'm taking it and I'm not having any pain, because what it does is it like shuts down the nerves from getting the signals about the pain, so you don't feel the pain. So right now I'm on that and it's working, so I think it's safe to say that it's a nerve issue. My GP has someone that they deal with who would be able to know better what tests I should take to find out what is going on. Hopefully, this is something, maybe I can figure it out here and I don't need to go for surgery or something like that. Maybe it's like just a pinched nerve or something, or I'm not sure. I really don't know, but that's what we're trying to find out. I saw online that like for certain things and nerves and stuff like that, you can get an MRI done. So I had suggested that. And they said that they were sending out that information to said person, and they would get back to me when said person comes back to them with suggestions on what to do. So I'm waiting. I'll probably call on Friday, which is in 2 days, and see if they've heard anything. And then I'll contact Dr. Crane and let them know how things are going, because unfortunately, for him to be able to help me, I would have to go back to Austin, Texas. And if I were to go back to Austin, it would probably only be to find out what's wrong, and I would also have to see if OHIP would fund any medical things like the appointments and stuff that I would have to go for, so I'd have to go through that. And then it would probably not be a situation where I could just get that fixed unless I had some sort of funding from OHIP ahead of time, and then I was just popped in or squeezed into their schedule or something, but I can't really see that being a possibility. So hopefully I can figure it out here instead of having to go there to figure it out, because if I do have to go back to get it fixed, then that would mean another trip out as well. So unfortunately, that is not something that financially I can do. Financially, I can't even really afford to go back for another surgery, but if it is nerve issues and I have to go back, then I'm gonna have to go back. So right now I'm kind of just in limbo, waiting to figure out what the deal is and what I can do to figure out what it is. But other than that, like if I don't take the medication that they gave me, I do get the pains back, and it was getting to a point where it was like, not like, it started off slow and then it just like creeped up on me out of nowhere, and it was like between an 8 to a 10 out of 10 if I don't take the medication. So I've been doing that and just waiting to see what I have to do. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't know if there's too much else that is going on in that specific area. I did go and get my nipples tattooed. I went to Bancroft to Jamie Jolie, and I had gotten the pigment correction done, so I went and got that done because in June she had a promo going on that I've talked about before, where she took a certain percentage off of what the cost was, so I paid a very minuscule price to go. Sorry. I'll show you, but I'll just say, before, the pigment in my areolas, my nipples it wasn't really there. Like, it was if you go back in my other videos, but because of how they were before and the pigment that they were before, there were certain areas that matched what my original pigment was, but then majority of it was a lot lighter, so I wanted to get that done so it looked more natural to my body. And so there were definitely areas, I found especially in pictures, and I know that it's probably the lighting, but even in person sometimes, the actual tips of my nipples would be they would look very white, they had almost no pigment to them. So I wanted to get that corrected. And I did go. I probably am going to go back for a touch-up in the summer. Just like a little bit, because the nips are going to take longer because they're more finicky. But I'll show you how they look now, and I'm pretty content with how they look. So like, there we go. So you can see like a little bit where it just, but if I, like, so I'm in a shadow right now, so you can actually see where it's a little bit white or not the same color around. But I don't know if I can get close enough. Probably not. But if I could get close enough, like you can see a little bit, it looks a little bit different. So I'm going to get that touched up. But overall, she did a really great job. She made it so that it fades out more, so it's not just a specific like line around the nipples, so the pigment starts to fade out into my own skin tone, which is really, really awesome. Also, when you have scars, it does take a little bit more, so you probably would need a touch-up if you went. Sorry, I'm saying a lot. I'm trying to remember everything. It's after the holidays, and with all the pain stuff that went on over the holidays, I'm trying to remember everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. But I wanted to show you my chest, because if you go back and look in my previous videos, you can see from like day 1 of me coming out of surgery, you don't get to see my nipples or anything, but you can see that like I had like where the incisions were, and then I had the sponges over the nipples, and then when I got those taken off, I have a video for that as well that you can check out. And I have tracked my progress until I was like pretty much fully healed, and in some of my videos I don't have a shirt on, so you can clearly see what my chest looks like. And now you can see what it looks like after getting it tattooed. I know the lighting's not great. I film off my iPhone. I don't do anything fancy. I'm sure if you've been a long-time subscriber that you know that by now. So sorry that it's not better quality. If you would like to, you can always go check it out on Instagram on Trans Fellas. I have some pictures up on there. But I will also be posting on Friday, because Friday will be 9 years since I had my top surgery with the McLean Clinic, which is now Grace Med in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. So that is quite exciting. 9 years. So if you actually go back, you would need to go back pretty much you need to go back 9 years into my videos to see what that looked like originally, and then like you can compare it to now. You can see the difference. My scars faded quite well. I know that like sometimes they look more visible. It depends on how long my chest hair is. It depends if I shave my chest or not. But generally, I feel like my scars are really light. They're very, very thin, and I don't have any dog earring. I didn't have to get anything done for that. I didn't need any revisions for my top surgery. I had the double mastectomy with nipple grafts, and I didn't have drains. McLean's, I don't know. Sometimes they do, but generally double incision they actually don't, and keyhole they do. So I know that that might be odd to hear from some people, because sometimes it's the reverse, but that's my experience with it, and it went very well. I healed amazingly, and I'm really happy with it. I'm very proud of my decision. At the time that I got my top surgery, it was not covered by OHIP under McLean's, and it was maybe a year or two later that they did receive funding, so I had paid out of pocket for my top surgery back then. And it's been an awesome 9 years of not having to bind or wear a shirt if I don't want to be able to have the chest that I wanted all along. And another great thing I want to say too is that I have tattoos, and none of them have been disturbed by any of my surgeries, which is awesome. I know that some people have chosen to use areas of their body that are tattooed for their surgeries, or they've had to give up tattoos for their surgeries to work. And I am just thankful that the surgeons that I have in the areas that I have chosen to get tattooed have not had to interfere with each other, which is great, because I think that for me personally, if any of my body art was to have to be removed and placed somewhere else, or just cut into so that it wouldn't be the image that it is anymore, I'd be quite upset, pretty sad about it. So I'm very grateful and very glad that I didn't have to sacrifice any of my body art in order to have the body that I want. But yeah, I think hopefully after this, maybe I'll be able to become more active maybe on here and focus a little bit more on myself in who I am and not the surgeries that I'm having. Hello, Jinx. This is my cat, Jinx. But it's been a long journey of planning and stress, mental health, complications, and to be honest, I know that if you go through my videos, you'd probably just be like, wow, he's had a lot of complications. I've had 6 surgeries for phalloplasty, and in the middle of phalloplasty, I had a bladder stone removal surgery. So in 2.5 years, roughly, I've had 7 surgeries. Sorry, I had to count in my head. But at the end of the day, I do know people that have had way worse complications. The ones that I have had are quite minor. They are things that I've been able to tend to on my own. There have been certain things that have happened that I clearly wouldn't like. I don't enjoy any of them, but I can say that at the end of the day, they have healed, and there's not an issue. Like, even where my thigh had split open from where a skin graft had been taken, that is healed, and yes, there is a scar there, but it's above my donor site anyways, and it's like not anything that I'm bothered by. Most of my scars do end up healing very lightly, which I'm also grateful for, that I do heal well. So at the end of the day, even with the complications that I have had, if, like, I know there's many people that would not go through it, many people that would be scared to after hearing it, but I wanted to be open and honest. I am also looking into setting up a Patreon, because while I do share everything on here with everyone as well as on Instagram, I have not shared any photos. And that reason is because for me, this is a very personal journey, and I've been open and honest with it, and I've wanted to share the photos because I didn't see many photos really at all, and the people that I know didn't necessarily have the same complications as me. So like, even though we did share photos with each other, sometimes we weren't able to help each other out, which is totally common. It's not every day that you're gonna find somebody who's going through exactly what you are. I've had people that I've gone through these journeys with and met while I was in Texas, and it's been great. And there are certain things that we actually have had in common, or are close enough that we can relate to each other. And even just going through the surgeries at the same time and being in the same place, it's like, even if we didn't get to see each other, like the last trip, we didn't get to see each other, me and my buddy Charlie, and Danny as well, I was supposed to see, but we didn't get to see each other because, like, Danny wasn't there for long, and me and Charlie were just feeling really rough this time around, and I don't know why, but it was It was just like mentally, I think, was pretty rough, but at least we could still talk to each other and we saw each other. We were in the beds next to each other waiting to go into surgery. So like we were there for each other and we were able to be there for each other, even just like messaging each other on the phone and stuff like that, or like voice memo talking over Instagram and things like that. So that's very helpful if you are going through surgery, or if you plan on it, make sure, or at least not make sure, but try to find somebody who has either gone through it or maybe is going through it. If you're in the surgeon's office for an appointment or whatever and you see somebody else who's in there that seems to be going through the same thing, maybe see what their surgery date is. And if you're there for a while, or however long you are, maybe you go get coffee or something like that, because it doesn't take your mind off it because you're still talking about it, but you're talking to someone who's going through it. And a lot of the people that work at Crane Center have also gone through a lot of the surgeries that all of us that go there are going through. So a lot of the times they're very helpful to talk to. I found that Judah is a very helpful person to talk to. He's been like a really good rock for me, to be honest. So that's one thing. But yeah, anyways, because I have had complications and I have had a plethora of surgeries, I do want to share with people that are interested and let people know, just like, even if something like this happens to you, look how it turned out in the end, because I was able to get the proper care for it. If you ever have any issues after surgery, definitely if you can't see your surgeon, then go see your GP and then request or demand nicely to be sent to wound care so that they can take care of the wound. If you are able to connect your surgeon to wound care, make sure that as well that your GP is connected with your surgeon wherever you go. But if they can get in touch and if you can explain to them what is going on, generally they are very friendly and able to help you out. I found the wound care places that I went to and the nurses that I dealt with to be amazing. The specialist that I've been dealing with for the last little while, probably I've been seeing her for at least a year on and off because of my surgeries, but I started seeing just her specifically and literally everything has gone great. She's helped me out so much. Even when I'm worried, she doesn't really worry me. She reassures me, and she's just even blown away at how well everything healed and everything's going, and to be able to tell me, like, I don't need to come back. There's no reason to come back. But I highly recommend to make sure that if you are going through issues, to get wound care. So a lot of the pictures that I will be sharing are going to be these surgical pictures where there are wounds from my surgery, or where possibly sutures have popped out, a fistula, the hematoma, other little things I will explain in the descriptions of things, but I want to share the pictures. However, I want to do it on a platform that is safe for me to do so in a way. OnlyFans, is that what it's called, the other one? I have nothing really against it. It's just, to me, it doesn't seem that people take it as educational. They take it as more of, don't really want to say sexual, but a lot of things come across as sexual, and I don't want to be taken that way. So Patreon to me is a more comfortable way for me to be able to share my photos that are meant to be educational and helpful to other trans people, males that are going through. Sorry, I didn't mean to say males like that, like it's only males, because like trans people that are non-binary or genderqueer also choose to have different types of surgeries, so they as well. But I want to be able to share those photos so that people can see, like, yes, I did go through this, but at the end of the day, this is how it ended up, and I'm happy with how things have ended up. I do have to wait a little longer. I'm only like just over 2 months out of healing from my last surgery, and I do have to see if that fistula heals on its own and take care of this nerve issue. However, I'm like towards the finish line. I'm close, and even though it's been super tough, and I know that you guys have seen some videos where like I'm really down, but I don't ever say that I regret anything or whatever it may be. But I do want to show people the reality of it, on both sides, like the good and the bad. And in order to do so, I need to feel safe doing so. So by using Patreon, I'm going to choose this is the only thing like I've said before, I do not like sharing knowledge for money. Like, I don't want to interchange money with knowledge that I can speak to you upon. But when it comes to my personal self and my body, I want to make sure that I am doing it safely for me. And this is the only time that I would charge money for something like this. It's not for me to really benefit off everybody. It's my own, I guess, security, safety net, whatever you want to call it. And also, going through phalloplasty is very expensive, so that money is going to actually go back to paying the debt that I have for my surgery. I paid for stage 1, which was like between $7,000 and $8,000, so that I've paid back. But I do have 4 other trips, I think it is, that I do have to, yeah, it's 4 other trips that I have not paid back yet, and I do have to pay those back. So I said before that I wasn't planning on showing my pictures, and that if I was, I'd have to really think about it, and I have really thought about it, and at the end of the day, it's something that I do want to do, but I can't just be willy-nilly about it. I want to make sure that I'm being educational about it, and you know what? At the end of the day, I know that haters or people that have fetishes are always going to find you at some point, and at the end of the day, making it so that you have to pay to access my personal photos, it's a matter of, then that person actually chose to pay to see them. So, you know what? If you want to do that, then that's on your own thing, but you are paying me to see it. So even if you're a hater, you've just paid money towards me, and that's kind of ironic, I guess you could say. But this is the only thing that I do charge money for. I will be charging money for. I don't like to make money off of my experience. However, personal photos of my penis and scrotum and everything else that's going on down there, the things that I've experienced, gone through, that's where I will put the line at. I do have to have some sort of compensation and some sort of safety that I'm not going to end up being taken advantage of and possibly have my photos leaked everywhere. And if that happens, then I have the ability to do something about it. So I wanted to let everybody know that I will be working on that, and in hopefully a short amount of time, maybe by the end of the month or beginning of February, hopefully, I will have that up and running so that you can see pictures. And I just have to figure out how I'm going to go about laying it out, what the tiers would be like, or how the payment process would be. I've never really done anything like this before. I don't really know much. I'm talking to another trans friend who has one. So I'm going to be trying to work that out and get that up and running so that that can be accessible for people. And I have a lot of pictures, so there's going to be quite a bit for everybody to see. I will not have pictures that expose anything except for my surgery areas, so even that's another thing that's security as well. I'm not going to be showing my face. My face won't be up there, whatever. Like, obviously, people will probably know it's me because from this video, I'm telling you that I have a Patreon, and then I'm going to link you to it. So you're going to know, but at the end of the day, my face won't be attached to it. So if it gets leaked, it's not as harmful to me if it is. But I'm not saying that it's right to take my pictures, and I am putting them up there for a fee, and at the end of the day, I do hope that I can be respected by those who follow me and subscribe, that the pictures will not be taken from that site and put anywhere else. So that's the update and news. I was not planning on making a video this long, but I always say that and it ends up being a long video. So that is where I'm at. No more wound care. I've explained about the pain issues that I'm having, and I will update everybody when I hear back on that. My 9 years post-op is in 2 days on January 5th. Today is January 3rd that I'm making this video, so that is very exciting. And yeah, I'll be back with an update as soon as I can. I hope everybody had a great Christmas, a great holidays. Obviously, I don't know what everybody who follows me celebrates, so I just want to say holidays so that everybody out there knows that I wish you well. And I hope that everybody had a great New Year's, and I wish you all the best for 2024. Oddly, 2023 seemed to be quite rough for a lot of people, and it almost feels like it was worse than when we had the years that we were in lockdown, which seems quite odd. But wishing the best for everybody, and I'll chat at you soon. I'll talk to you later. Peace.